Hi, I'm Matt Easton with MultiFamily Traffic, the #1 apartment SEO company in the industry. Today's episode of Ask Matt, I'm going to be answering a question that I get asked all the time from senior leadership at portfolios, and that is, what should we look for in the best property managers out there, and how do we find those property managers that we can hire? How can we promote within, and what are we looking for in the rock star property managers? In my 20 years in the industry, I have visited hundreds of management companies and literally thousands of properties, and I can tell you there are some very specific traits that I personally have noticed in rock star property managers. I'm going to go through some of those today. Hopefully you will find them helpful if you're looking to hire property managers. If you are a property manager, hopefully you'll notice some of these traits in yourself and maybe take some time to work on them and improve them. I think there is some very simple things that separate the absolute best of the best from the rest of the rest. And it has nothing to do with education, it has nothing to do with upbringing. Those things do play a factor, but from what I have seen in my 20 years, there are very specific traits that the rock star property managers have, and I'm going to go through some of those right now. One of the first things I've noticed is that successful property managers have a can-do attitude. When I'm on site, I constantly hear these property managers say things like, "We can get it done, let's find a way." It's often the reason they've brought me in to help bring the property leads is they're thinking outside of the box. They're not happy with their exposure, or they're not happy with their current occupancy rate, and rather than complain and point fingers or blame the property, they're like, "Hey, let's get it done. Let's call in MultiFamily Traffic and have them make the phones ring for us." No matter what the situation is, these property managers with a can-do attitude really exemplify what you want in your company, and they're the type of people that you want to promote. They don't point fingers. They don't point blame at anything. They always maintain that a solution exists. Whether it's a tricky application or a resident that just doesn't understand a specific policy, or even something as extreme as an eviction, you can always tell the people with a can-do attitude because they take charge, they jump right in with both feet, and they maintain from start to finish that they are going to get it done and that they are going to follow this thing through. Another big one, and this is something that we use at MultiFamily Traffic, we've tried to ban the phrase, "I don't know." And I've taken this from my experience being on property with rockstar property managers, and that is that the best property managers believe that they will figure it out. They never use terms like "I don't know," whether they're meeting with a prospect or they're talking with the maintenance department or they're the only one on the property and they're way over their head with an issue like a water leak or a problem with the boiler. They never say "I don't know." They never throw up their hands. They always say, "I will figure it out." These are the property managers that you want to promote because you know that any problem, whether it's in their bandwidth or outside of their bandwidth, is in good hands with them because they're never going to tell either a resident or somebody else within your organization that, "Hey, I don't know," or "That's not in my purview," or "That's not my job." They either figure it out themselves, find the answer, or they go find somebody that finds the answer. I can spot these people a mile away. Successful property managers seek to solve problems, and this is a huge, huge one if you're going to promote somebody. If you think about it, on a property you're looking at, $30 to $100 million asset. Do you really want somebody in charge of that asset that is not going to seek to solve problems? Now, we all can solve the problems that are right in our face, but it's those rock star property managers that really seek out particular problems. They look at things like their exposure and say, "Oh my goodness, in October, we're going to have a lot of turns and we could potentially have pretty low occupancy. Let's get ahead of this and let's call in somebody to help bring us some leads." Or even they'll drive down to the HR department at a local company and let them know, "Hey, I'm going to have some units available in October. Can I come out and do a lunch and learn with some of the people here at the company and show them our great apartment complex? We can do a promotion with employees from HP, for example." These are the property managers that look for problems. They don't have a negative attitude, they have a positive attitude, and they know that solving problems is what they're paid to do. And if they solve enough problems for the organization, they're going to become the next vice president or CEO. Always look for property managers that are seeking to solve problems. Successful property managers focus on opportunity. One example of this, I've seen some student housing providers that have come up with some really creative ways to either keep students in their homes over the summer or find short-term leases. There is always opportunity out there if you're seeking out opportunities. Another great example, back in 2010, I was in the Silicon Valley working with an apartment complex that they were close enough to folks like Google and Apple and VMware, but they were still about 40 minutes away. I had a fantastic property manager that came up with a great idea to get a bus service that ran from that community to the Silicon Valley. She was able to raise her rents, get to 100% occupancy with a wait list, simply because she was looking for an opportunity. This is a little bit different than looking for a problem. The problem never existed. She found an opportunity in that these high dollar employers out there, their employees that were making great money, even if they had $1 million a month to spend, every single apartment in the area was occupied. And for the ones that did come available, rent was astronomical. She said, great, come and live with us. We're going to give you a bus service Monday through Friday. It's going to pick you up in the morning, bring you home in the afternoon. Boom, huge success. She found an opportunity and capitalized on it. These are the type of property managers that we love to work with, and I can tell you that's the type of attitude that's going to get you promoted. Always looking for opportunity and always looking for new ideas and better ways that you can serve your portfolio and your property. Successful property managers readily take action. These are the people, the easiest way to find this type of property manager is just ask their husband or just ask their wife. They're constantly taking action. They might even be on vacation and they're constantly on their phone, on their email. They live and breathe their job, and they are not afraid to jump in and get their hands dirty and constantly solve problems. You never hear them saying things like, I don't know, I don't care, that's not my job. They jump in, they take action, they get it done, they take charge, they don't need to be told what to do. They show up every day and they're fired up and they get it done. Successful property managers readily take action. And if you can take action at massive levels, I guarantee you that your boss is going to see this, that the rest of the organization is going to see this. You literally have a huge asset. Imagine if you're the pilot of an airplane. That airplane is worth tens of millions of dollars, and you have all of these people inside it. It's no different with an apartment community. They're looking for a pilot that's going to take action, be proactive, show up every day and give it all they've got, all day, every day. Successful property managers love challenges. They've got the right ideas, they've got the right attitude, they want to be challenged. And I can think of this terrific property manager that I knew in Baton Rouge, and she was dyslexic. She had trouble reading, and numbers were her biggest nightmare in the world. So when it came time to do leasing, boy, things were extra tough for her. She had such an amazing attitude. I wouldn't have even known that she was handicapped on the reading side a little bit unless she had just told me how excited she was about it. She loved the challenge, that she had trouble with the numbers, that she had trouble reading. She figured out new and creative ways to make sure that that lease was double checked. She had an assistant property manager that would double check all the facts and figures. She would use on her iPhone, she would use Siri to talk into it. She had, I believe it was called Grammarly, a little app on her computer to make sure that everything was correct in her writing. She loved the fact that she was challenged by it, and she took it as a test for her every day to show that, you know what, she's not going to be defined by her difficulty in reading, that she's going to get around it. Whether it's something as extreme as that, or even a employer closing in your area, or bad reviews that you just got on apartmentratings.com, the evil site. Successful property managers love a challenge, they look for a challenge, and they eat them up. They don't care, they've got the right attitude, and they jump in and they solve those challenges. So here's a big one that really impresses me when I'm out and visiting with property managers. And it's when I see property managers that demonstrate courage. And here's what I mean by that. Successful property managers, they walk around with an air of, hey, everything is going to be okay. This property is going to be in good hands. I don't want to say arrogance, but it's almost a cocky arrogance about them that there is nothing that they can't do and nothing that they can't solve. They are courageous. I've seen property managers deal with a complete disastrous water leak, and their eyes are just stone cold like those best generals on the battlefield. They rally their troops and they say, hey, we're going to get it done. I can't tell you from a resident how much better residents feel when there's a courageous property manager that can look them in the eye and say, hey, it's going to be okay. You know, you're in good hands. We're going to take care of it. I understand that some cars got broken into. I am dealing with the situation. We're going to handle this. Don't worry. We've got you. We've got your back. It is those most successful property managers that are courageous. I'm sure they're nervous and I'm sure they're scared. You know, they got water coming, dripping down from the third floor to the second floor. Their job is on the line, but they don't show it. They've just stone cold. I've got this. You're in good hands with me. It's those courageous property managers that you want to lean on during tough times, and they're the ones that are going to get you through, get their people through, and get the residents of your property through whatever it is that's going on at the community. So look for those property managers that display that courageous attitude and swagger. So the last one that I'll leave you with that I've noticed when I'm on property, and this is a very huge one, and that is successful property managers embrace change. I mean, how can you be successful if you try to keep the world the way it is? You need to embrace the change and realize, hey, that the world is changing. I may not be able to market my property the way I did in the past. You know, hey, it used to be people would look for balloons and look for the For Rent magazines. Now I got to deal with Google AdWords or any number of changes. Those most successful property managers embrace change, hit it head on, are constantly looking for what's next in the industry. How can I add value to my residents? How can I add value to my property? They never say no. Just look at apartment ratings and reviews and how many property managers lean head forward into that and go for it and get those good quality reviews on their properties, and how many sit back and go, oh man, that is a nightmare. I realize the world has changed, but I'm not going to do anything about it. Meanwhile, a couple disgruntled ex-residents go out and blow that property up on Google ratings or Yelp or apartmentsratings.com and literally trash the property, but that property manager is not willing to do anything about it. They're not willing to embrace change and where the market is headed. So always look for those property managers that are going to ebb and flow as things change in the world. The world is constantly evolving, and you want to find a property manager that can evolve right along with you. So these are just a few of the things that I've noticed in successful property managers. I hope that you found them helpful. If you're hiring property managers, look for some of these things in the interview process. You can always ask questions of the candidate to see how they would handle particular situations. If you are a property manager, hopefully you've noticed a lot of qualities that you have in yourself. If you need any help in managing your property, we are the company that can help make the phones ring by ranking your community at the top of Google for the most searched keywords that renters are typing in, so that they find your property before finding a competitor or an ILS or anyone else. Quite simply, we make the phones in the leasing office ring. But if you have any other questions at all, whether it's how to close a lease or how to deal with coworkers, whatever it is, if I don't know the answer, I'll find somebody that does. You can get a hold of me. My direct line is 303-803-7372. My email is m.easton, E-A-S-T-O-N, at multifamilytraffic.com. Feel free to write in, call in, ask me anytime, day or night. I will get you the answer, and maybe you can be on the next episode of Ask Matt. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk soon.